It is the end of an era in One Piece. All of the pieces are set, and a new final battle will emerge. But who will actually reign victorious? Who will be lost along the way? And who will be in that fight? Hey everybody, and welcome back to Thursday Thermal Takes, the show where we bring to you the most One Piece of takes on the most epic of Thursdays. Today we get into the final arc, the final saga, the final whatever One Piece has to offer. Wano officially just ended last week. And with that new ending, we have a new beginning. The final whatever. It's going to be epic. It's going to be insane. It's going to be infinite. It's apparently going to be like the Paramount War saga on steroids. Oda is going to have a big ending for the series. We're in it. The final stretch. But who will actually be in this final stretch and who won't be? But before we get into that, please do be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the video. It really helps with all of the algorithms and all of the content coming out. I can not only make more content when you guys give me more likes, more comments, more subscriptions, more bell rings, and also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/proantagonist2 for future updates since I can't post community updates to the channel yet. And also, before we get into this video, this will be covering a lot of One Piece stuff. There will be many spoilers ahead. If you are caught up in the manga, you're going to be fine. We're just going over major players, so there's not a lot of actual really big spoilerific stuff. Although I do have to admit, there are a couple of really huge bombshells that got dropped at the end of the arc, and you may want to just wait. For everyone else, you have been spoiler warned, but without further ado, One Piece, Quartet for the finale. Let's go. First, starting off all the spoilerific-y stuff, especially with a big bombshell, all of you, if you're only watching the anime, you're not reading the manga, get out, or else you're gonna be really spoiled. There are the 4 emperors of the modern era now. It's pretty much all replacements. Shanks is the oldest of the emperors, and that's kind of interesting because he's not all that old in the series. Whitebeard fell, Blackbeard took his place. That was a big thing that happened after Marineford. And now that we have Kaido and Big Mom having gone, Luffy and Captain Buggy, the 2 great upstart pirates from the East Blue. Buggy being an upstart on Roger's crew, coming out from the East Blue, coming to take all of your booties and your treasure too. Luffy, we have him. He came out, inherited will of Roger, Gold Roger, the king of the pirates. All this nice stuff. Excellent pirates. We got so many good players on the table. Basically what this whole video is about is One Piece. There are now 4 emperors of the sea again, after 2 have been defeated. Where are all the players in these 4 emperor groups? Where are all these different combatants that are going to be in this big final massive war for the One Piece? Who's going to be on whose side? Maybe there will be some side switches. Who knows? We don't have all of the information on who all is getting together and getting quite in this battle. We have some ideas. We have some clues. We have some people we know who are on or allied with certain crews. But we're going to get into it. All the different pirates, all the different factions. There is kind of a quintet or a sextet, depending on how you define it, in that the Revolutionary Army and the Marines / the world government, whatever, these are also 2 different factions that have nothing to do with pirates. They're pretty big, pretty grandiose, pretty large in stature, but they're not interested necessarily in the One Piece as much as the 4 pirates are. And I wouldn't have said that long ago. I had no indication that Shanks was going to be interested in the One Piece until the end of Wano, when he said, we're going to go finally take it. Shanks and Buggy, neither of them have seen the One Piece. Neither of them went on the island. They've been up to the island, but never actually on it. They never saw the One Piece. They never knew. Maybe someone told them, maybe not. But it seems like Buggy doesn't know. Shanks may or may not know. I think Rayleigh knows, but red-haired Shanks, Buggy, Blackbeard, and Luffy, the quartet for the finale. Who's going to be on whose side? Who's going to be joining up with who? So for starters, we have the protagonist of the series and pirate captain Monkey D. Luffy. He, of course, has the Straw Hat Pirates. He's the captain of that. There are 10 active members at the moment. Basically the main cast of the series, right? Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Sanji, Usopp, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook, and Jinbei. Then we have a lot of other options that come into play. Of course, we have the Grand Fleet with the Bardo Club and basically the 7 crews that Luffy had swear allegiance to him in Dressrosa. Those are also going to be a part of it. We also have a couple of kingdoms. We have the Fishman Island Kingdom. We have the Wano Kingdom. Kingdoms that Luffy has sworn to protect as an Emperor of the Sea. He basically did this at Fishman Island. It didn't come with the Emperor's protection until now. He said he was going to be in charge of protecting Fishman Island and all that stuff. He's got that one under control. He's got Zoe. He's got Wano because they're allied nations. He probably has Dressrosa. It's possible that he has the Kingdom of Alabasta on his side as well. And so that's a lot. That's a lot of kingdoms. And in addition to that, we of course have Boa Hancock, who loves Luffy 7 ways till Sunday, plus more, all the way to death, and her Kuja kingdom. All of these different kingdoms are probably going to be on Luffy's side. That is the biggest boon to that crew, besides the pirates themselves, of course, and Boa Hancock especially, going to be a big player in all this. I think everyone saw all of those coming. There are some other aspects and characters to the series that we may see crop up again. There are a lot of random characters in East Blue. You had people like Gin, who may or may not be dead. You had Johnny Nyosaku. They're around somewhere in the seas. You had a lot of other random people. You had some cooks on the Braatier. I have no clue whether anyone in the East Blue would be that interested in coming to help Luffy. Obviously, the Arlong Pirates, they could be a thing, but I don't actually think they're going to be interested in the Straw Hat Pirates, other than, of course, Hachi. You're going to have the Sun Pirates, led by Jinbei formerly. They're definitely an allied crew. I don't think there's any real debate as to that. You have some characters from the 2-year time skip, like Heracleson, that Robo-Dog, stuff like that. They could be involved in some way, shape, or form. But really, the only ones I would think of based on all of these pirates, you have the Sun Pirates with Jinbei. You have maybe some bounty hunters like Johnny Inosuke, some other random people that might be in it. You got the Saruyama Alliance, the Skypians, and the Shandorians, who I think maybe not, maybe. The Shandorians, Skypians, they're kind of in the sky. I don't know if they're going to make a return. The Saruyama Alliance, of course, they are some people who are cruising for a bruising if they get into any fight. They got kicked around by Bellamy, of all people. And I think Bellamy, of course, kind of works his way into the Grand Fleet. Maybe he'd come. He made the flags for the crew. Maybe he'd come back and start fighting and everything like that and help out Luffy again. I don't know if that would be true. I don't know if Bellamy's really even considered an actual member of the Grand Fleet, but he kind of is by default. You have the Shipwrights and the Frankie family from Water 7. They could be involved in it somehow. For all we know, we could see Mr. 2, Bon Clay. Of course, Bon Clay would go to the ends of the earth to help Luffy. I am almost 100% certain that he will be involved in the final arc in some way. He is the leader of the new Newkama Kingdom 5th and a half floor, 4th and a half floor in Impel Down. I could see him take Doflamingo with him, honestly. I'm not necessarily going to say where I think Doflamingo will end up right this minute, but I think there's a strong possibility that Doflamingo, if he doesn't end up on one of the other ones, would actually be broken out of Impel Down, busted out, and maybe even come to Luffy's aid. I highly doubt it, because I don't think Doflamingo would be very interested in helping out the guy who kicked his ass, who screwed up all his plans, but if it was Bon Clay, maybe he was able to kind of convince him somehow. We have, of course, the Heart Pirates, led by Trafalgar Law, who, honestly, it would make sense. The end of the chapter, the end of Wano, said next time we'll meet as enemies. I don't really buy that with Law. They love Luffy, the whole crew. Everyone there likes him, Law especially, as much as he probably hates to admit it. I don't think they're going to be adversaries. I think in a final conflict, maybe Law would be competing in this thing, but he wouldn't be on one of the big four. And that's kind of an issue. When it all comes down to it, push comes to shove, I think Law is going to be on Luffy's side. We have Capone Gang Beige and Lola's crew from Thriller Bark. I believe both of them, because Beige went and got Lola. They'll be probably in the whole fight and everything on Luffy's side. I think that the Germa Double Six may come to Luffy's aid. I don't know that they would necessarily do so, but there's not another general crew or reason or anything that I can see that if the Germa Double Six shows up in the final arc, they'd probably be fighting alongside Sanji. Just based on what happened the whole Cake Island arc, I think that the Germa would be on Luffy's side. I think that Rayleigh would be, if he's involved, either a sort of a passive player. The Roger Pirates, of course, if any of them show up, they've already done this before. They're not fighting to do it again, I don't think, other than Shanks and Buggy, who are the only two members of the Roger Pirates who never even got to the island because of the I can't go on the island disease that Buggy caught, because Shanks stayed behind with them like a bro. And of course, at the very end of the Luffy crew, you could have things that are odd kind of pop up. You could have the Giants. I could see possibly the Kingdom of Giants coming to help out. They've teased a lot about Elbaf, and so I have no idea if that's an arc. I have no idea if that's something we're going to get to, but I think it'll be involved in some way, shape, or form. Now, going into Buggy's whole crew, we have the initial Buggy Pirates, as we met Moji, Kabaji, Richie the Lion. All the random Buggy Pirate crew members, they're not that impressive. What happened is that Buggy started making a lot of friends. He made Alvida as a friend in East Blue. He got her to join his crew. He got Mr. 3 from Impel Down. He's even gotten Crocodile and Daz Bones as of recently. Maybe some more Baroque Works members would side with them given that all their old crewmates are on that crew, except for Mr. 2. But Mr. 2 wasn't all that involved with Baroque works aside from literally just his little pirate crew. You have Dazbone's Crocodile, bunch of Impel Down escapees. You have all kinds of people who escaped Impel Down and joined and made essentially what is now considered the biggest uprising movement in a generation, nay a century. Captain Buggy movement. They all came to his aid. They all came to help him. Of course, Crocodile and Dazbones, they wouldn't have joined Buggy's crew until the cross group came up. That's something that just happened at the end of Wano. I'm pretty sure you didn't want to know that if you didn't see it in the anime or the manga or whatever. Cross Guild, Buggy, all that good stuff. Also with Cross Guild, you had, of course, Dracul Mihawk confirmed to be involved with Buggy. That's going to be a big deal. It's going to be Luffy versus Buggy at the end. I'm already predicting it. Luffy versus Buggy. They're going to have a fight at some point, and it's going to be crazy. Maybe they won't actually have a direct conflict, but I can guarantee you that if Luffy comes out, Buggy is kind of not really into it because he's not quite at that level in terms of his own combat skills. And then Dracul Mihawk steps out and is like, hey, you need a hand? And then Zoro steps out and it's like, well, I guess it's time to do the thing that everyone's been waiting for. Zoro versus Dracul Mihawk. Final conflict confirmed, basically. I mean, it's speculative, but that's basically confirmed. Some other pirates I think would involve themselves with Buggy. You have the Foxy Pirates, who I think would kind of fall into that category very well. You have Wapol. You may have the Sun Pirates pop in. Obviously, I mentioned them earlier. Not the Jinbei faction, but the Arlong faction of the Sun Pirates, the ones who were under Arlong's control and everything. They could always pop in. I think Arlong is sort of a wild card in terms of whether or not he's actually going to be involved in the series. Oda's kind of shoved him to the side ever since East Blue. He's been in some flashbacks with the Fishman Island stuff, but I think the Mad Monk Orouge could possibly pop into Buggy's crew. I think that he could be that like sort of wild card factor that ends up joining Buggy. Of course, I think that you could easily replace him out with like Eustace Kid. I don't know that Kid actually wants to join an alliance. This is the weird thing about Eustace Kid. I'm not sure what the hell he wants to do because he wants to just take down an emperor and become an emperor. So would he even join anybody? Who knows? We have Edward Weevil, who's a wild card running around. I think Weevil would fit in with Buggy's crew pretty well, but if he wasn't in Cross Guild already, I don't really know what to make of that since I saw that Crocodile and Mihawk were in there. I don't know if Edward Weevil would actually be on Buggy's crew. Maybe he could be on someone else's. Maybe Blackbeard. Maybe. I think though that the Buggy crew, the big prediction I'm going to make is that the Charlotte family is going to get involved with them. This is going to be an interesting little concept here. You're going to see me point out there are 3 Emperor crews who are still mainly functional. Even if Kaido and Big Mom didn't survive their fights, it wasn't really confirmed that they died. Even if they didn't survive, or if they did, doesn't really matter. I don't think they're disgraced emperors. I don't think that they're going to be really all that active, but their crews could be. The Charlotte family, big pile of pirates, they could always come to someone's aid, and I think they would end up with Buggy out of the 4 options. Now, going into Blackbeard, we of course have his initial crew, Van Auger, Doc Q. You have his Doc Q's horse. It wasn't a very big crew initially. You had Lafitte, and you had this guy named Jesus Burgess, who is very well known for Dressrosa and being in some video games because he was in Dressrosa. You also have the Impel Down champions, people who busted out of Impel Down. Part of why I said Arlong could be a thing, because Arlong was in prison somewhere. Maybe Blackbeard did a prison raid and started freeing pirates. Maybe Buggy did a prison raid and started freeing pirates, though. That's kind of why I'm not really sure where to put Arlong in this. But you had the Impel Down champions that were on Blackbeard's crew. You have Gecko Moria, who got sort of absorbed because Gecko Moria was out trying to find Absalom. Absalom is dead. Someone took his devil fruit. Shiryu of the Rain, of course. Blackbeard's possibly best person he got from Impel Down. He could end up in a fight with Zoro. I could see that happening possibly. You could have Scratchman Apu if he's like involved at all. Some of the worst generation members, they could end up on Blackbeard's crew. They could end up being either a crew member or they could be allied. But I think we're going to see a lot of new faces with Blackbeard. I don't think there's going to be a whole ton of like recurring characters other than the initial like 10 people he had on his crew. Of course, you have Aokiji, you have Kuzan, because he's not really Aokiji anymore because that was an epithet. He lost that when he left the Marine, so everyone calls him Kuzan now, whatever. Kuzan on that little bandwagon. Could be the fact that Doflamingo would step up and join Blackbeard. Who knows? Like I said, prison busting. You could have the Kaido Beast Pirates. Those guys could show up and join Blackbeard's crew. I think that they kind of make good bedfellows because they're not very nuanced. I could see Blackbeard just coming in and saying, I'm boss, you're going to listen to me. And then the Kaido pirates, they kind of coalesce because they're not really all that like loyal in the same way that the Charlotte family is incredibly loyal to Big Mom. I don't think that they would want to just go along with it. Maybe it's possible that it's the opposite and Buggy gets the Kaido pirates, Blackbeard gets the Big Mom pirates, but I think that those are going to be some allegiances. Of course, you have red-haired Shanks up next, his initial crew, which we don't know much about. We know Lucky Roo, Ben Beckman, and of course Yasop, Usopp's father. We have the Whitebeard pirate remnants that I think would end up on Shanks's crew. I think that the Whitebeard pirates and the Whitebeard allies kind of respect Shanks enough to the point at least that they would possibly consider joining him. We have Scratchman and Pooh, we have Hawkins, we have Kid. We don't really know who would be on whose crew. The Worst Generation, they could all be their own independent sort of characters and contributors in this whole arc. They could all be kind of just doing their own thing besides Luffy and Blackbeard. Realistically speaking, Shanks's crew is going to be a lot of like people we don't know as well. I think that Shanks's general crew and fleet and everything, it's pretty much going to be his own initial people. Like, I don't think he's going to have a lot of people coming to back him up. It's possible that Marco, he's very keen on Luffy. He could just join up with Shanks for fun. He could join up with Luffy, who knows? Not all the Whitebeard pirates have to be on the same crew. Not all of them have to be joining up with the same people. You could have Edward Weevil come around, but I don't think that he would be on the same crew as the Whitebeard remnants. Shanks is kind of crazy in that he runs around with one ship of pirates, whereas all the other emperors command these massive fleets. I think that you're going to see that kind of be a similar thing where Luffy, he has literally a 10-man crew. He has an extended like army and everything with all of his allies, with all of his allied nations, all the people he watches over, but Shanks really just has like a boat of pirates and some territory. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who rocks in everywhere. He just waltzes up to like whoever, Blackbeard, with an armada of like 10,000 men. I don't think that's going to be a thing with Shanks. So I think Shanks is going to be a weird actor. What do I think is going to come out of the fights with all these people? Obviously, Zoro versus Mihawk, easy. There's a lot of ones that could come out of this. You could have things like Blackbeard coming and showing down with Shanks, and maybe some foreshadowing, maybe some bad stuff happens. Maybe Blackbeard even defeats or kills Shanks. And then the final fight is probably Luffy versus Blackbeard. We've kind of determined that as being a big possible thing, but the Luffy versus Shanks being a final fight, he's going to fulfill his promise to Shanks. He's going to become a great pirate, return the hat. This kind of reminds me of Hunter x Hunter, where the main character Gon has a weird antagonistic relationship with Hisoka, who is one of the antagonists. And Hisoka tells Gon that he can return this badge that he helped him get early on. He can return it to Hisoka. Gon feels humiliated because he needed his help. Hisoka will only accept it if Gon can land a punch on him. I don't know that that's kind of the same, but it gives me the same feeling of like, well, you want to return the straw hat, you're going to have to fight me. Maybe all four factions are not even the final thing. Maybe it's against the Marines, maybe it's against the Revolutionary Army. Of course, the Marines should be obvious. Anyone who's a Marine, the world government, they're all kind of on the same page to some extent. You, of course, have people like Kobe, Smoker, Tashigi. You have a lot of big players. You have the admirals, stuff like that. You, of course, have Vegapunk, who would maybe pop up in that general vicinity. You have X-Drake on the world government side, who I'm sure would stay there. It's a lot of different possibilities. I honestly could not predict the majority of the stuff that's going to happen other than maybe some key plot points. Like maybe I could say like Boa Hancock versus Katarina Devon of Blackbeard's crew. I have no clue. Finally, of course, we have the rebel faction. Dragon, he leads that place. He leads that army. I kind of want Dragon to be an antagonist. I kind of want most people to be an antagonist. I want there to be a big showdown between like all these different warring factions in this sort of super mega ultra One Piece grand finale type thing. It's going to be literally the war of fiction. Like Western civilization in the real world has created a lot of fiction. This is going to be one of the ones talked about. This is going to be one of the big ones. We have Dragon. He has people. I kind of want him to be antagonist. I know that may not happen. I kind of want Dragon to lose because I really would prefer if Luffy was the one who beat the world government. But I know it's not that likely. You have Dragon's faction with Sabo and Koala, some other revolutionaries. You have their little 4 commanders across all the different blues. You have the Okama, the Kamabaka Kingdom. Jewelry Bonnie and Kuma could be involved with them. For all we know, that Vivi could be involved with them because Vivi kind of disappeared. Of course, there were various different kingdoms that they went and saved. They went and helped out, so they could be involved in that. Who knows? There's so many different options to this. There's so many different ways this could go. we know so little about the next arc. It's kind of crazy. We don't know what direction everything is going, except for that it's all going towards the end of the series. And this is going to be quite epic. I love Emperor Buggy. I kind of want Emperor Buggy to be the one to find the One Piece first, even though I love Luffy. Buggy is just amazing. But the fact that Buggy, can we take a moment to respect the fact that Captain Buggy has gone so far as to become a pirate captain of his own after leaving Roger's crew. Buggy seemed underwhelming to fans of the series at first, but then he ends up showing up. He's sort of Luffy's rival, adversarial villain type rival. Then he meets him in Impel Down again. Buggy gets captured. He's at the bottom of his game on death's door, impelled down, wasting away. Luffy comes, he sets Buggy free, and then Buggy and Luffy make a deal that changes everything. Buggy says, I'll help you get out of Impel Down if you give me Captain John's treasure map. And that was the greatest exchange in all of pirate history in One Piece. Luffy took the deal. Buggy started a giant prison riot, inadvertently, I'll say. They escaped with a giant crew that started the Buggy whole phenomenon. And then Luffy came out with his little allied forces during the Impel Down arc. They went to Marineford. They made a big stink. That's what put Luffy and Buggy on the map. And then even beyond that, Buggy becomes a warlord. He runs his own delivery service. The giants that were on his crew, of course, Hyrudian giants specifically, they all leave Buggy's crew. They go to Luffy. It seems bad. What does Buggy do? He gets attacked by the world government. They revoke all warlords, and Buggy goes and he joins up with 2 more former warlords. He makes the Cross Guild with himself at the top. Captain Buggy is now an Emperor of the Sea. He's quite possibly the most amazing character in One Piece besides Luffy and maybe Usopp. I cannot stress it enough. Zoro and Sanji are 2 of my favorite characters. I like them both way more than Buggy and Usopp. They're quite excellent in their own right. Buggy and Usopp have led phenomena. There's so many different ties between the 2 of them. It's going to be amazing when they finally meet. But all of this is random Buggy exposition. None of this has to do with any of this stuff. It's just quite amazing. There's so much hype going into this, and I'm all for it. I'm all going to be there for it and everything like that. Let me know what you guys think about all that thermal take stuff in the comments. There's a lot of thermal takes because not a lot of people like Buggy being an emperor. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you thought about my takes. Let me know what you thought about me doing another One Piece video. And of course, let me know what you think about doing more One Piece content in the future. One Piece live action, not a great thing for me in this channel. It was great at first, but it sort of petered out and felt like repetitiveness. If you'd like to see me do another One Piece video, definitely be sure to let me know. I could do all kinds of videos about Luffy or Buggy or any of these people and who they're gonna fight. All kinds of theory videos. I'd be interested in doing some of them. But with that, I will see you next Thursday.